Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast. And my guest this week is...
This motherfucker Gary.
What up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. And we'll just start off with my schedule. This week, I'm in the Virgin Islands. I'm in St. Thomas on Friday, March 21st. Then I'm in St. Croix Saturday, March 22nd. I've been thinking I got my schedule memorized. And then as soon as I start talking, I'll be like, where am I at? Because I don't want to mess it up. So then I got March 28th, I'm in Orlando, Florida. March 29th, I'm in Westbury, New York at the Flag Star at the Westbury Music Fair. April 4th, I'm at the Cobb Energy Performing Arts Center in Atlanta, Georgia. April 5th, I'm in Richmond, Virginia at the Altria Theater. And then I'm in Houston, Texas for 2 weeks. That's April 10th, 10th through the 13th, and 16th through the 19th. I'm in Houston at the Improv. And then April 25th, Paramount Hudson Valley Theater, Peekskill, New York. April 26th, Parks Casino in Bethlehem, not to be confused with Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And then May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I'm at the Mic Drop, San Diego, California. May 9th through the 11th, I'm in Pleasanton, California at Tommy T's. That'll get us through the next couple months. So, it's a big week, baby. It's a big week to be a Bengals fan. Hold on. I should have had these in the background. I'm sorry about that. Baby. You see it? You want to be it, don't you? This the old Bengals. This the new Bengals. These Bengals that complained about money. These are Bengals that are paying that money. Huge day. Huge week. We've been waiting. Loyal Bengal fans have been waiting. T. Higgins got his money. Jamar Chase got his money. It was funny because I kept complaining and we're not doing anything in free agency and blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, I was getting some DMs from a couple players. They was like, chill, Gary. It's going to happen. We're on it. I was like, all right, I'm going to chill. And then, in fact, I made a post on Instagram and I deleted it because a couple guys like, chill, bruh. When you talk about this much money and two big-time players, it just takes a minute to make sure, he's getting this much this year, this much that year. So we got money to pay other people. But they got it done. I don't care how much money they made. Jamar made it like 160. T made 115. I just want him on the team. I'll leave all that money stuff to everybody else. So I think what was funny, I don't know if anybody picked up on this. There was numerous people, Ryan Clark, ESPN. There's just been a bunch of people all over Fox Sports and NFL Network, and ESPN kept saying the Bengals are cheap. This is why nobody wants to go there. This is why nobody plays there, because they're cheap. Then they pay. Keep in mind, 2 years ago, they paid Joe Burrow, made him the highest paid quarterback at that time. 2 years later, Jamar Chase now the highest paid wide receiver. Highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. T. Higgins is one of the highest paid wide receivers. And now they said, well, they overpaid. They don't have enough money for the defense. I'm like, so you can't have it both ways. Either the Bengals are cheap or they overpay. It doesn't make sense. And that's what everybody said. Well, no, I'm worried about their defense. I ain't gonna pay their defense. They're gonna figure it out. Just like they're gonna figure it out. This is what I know. It's a new regime. Joe Burrow has a lot to do with this. And if you don't think he does, look at his reaction when T and Jamar go to the locker room. Joe's the first one there to hug him. They were trying to dap him up. Joe's like, nah, hug it. And then at the very end of it, you hear Burrow say, big money in here right now. I'm like, so you can't tell me a quarterback has that kind of reaction is because he has something to do with it. That wasn't somebody in the peanut gallery just waiting to see if it plays out. No, he was actively in, I'm sure, the coach's ears, the front office's ears, telling them, this is what we need. And you don't want another Carson Palmer. You don't want disgruntled people. And I think I heard somebody say it sends a nice message to anybody that gets drafted by the Bengals that if you perform here and you deliver, we're going to make sure you stay on the team. And that hasn't always been the case, a la Jesse Bates, a.k.a. Jesse Bates. But yeah, it's a nice feeling to know if I ball out and I give everything I got for this team, because say what you want about T, he's been hurt a few times, but he's played hurt too. Jamar doesn't get, he's pretty durable. And then, they give their all, they sacrifice their body, and you get rewarded for it. So I think Burrow said it, we can't keep letting good players leave our building. And not only good players, but good locker room guys. We don't have those diva wide receivers that a lot of teams have. Wide receiver is the diva position in the NFL, and that is not Jamar and T. They just want to play ball, make their money, go home, win. That's it. That's all Joe Burrow wants. He just wants to play football, make some money. That's it. Win a championship. And then I think it's good for the locker room. There's no bitterness towards each other. Because I heard Matt Hasselbeck say on Colin Cowherd's talk show, he said, he's not even going to lie. He goes, when he's with the Seahawks, he goes, I'm balling out, and the other guys are balling out for the Seahawks. We're giving you everything we got. And then when they bring in free agents, the free agents gets flown in on a private jet. They get wined and dined by the owners and coaches. And Matt Hasselbeck was like, I never got to fly on Paul Allen's private jet. I never got taken out to eat. So it does send a message like, yo, you play for us, you ball for us, we're going to reward you. We're not looking elsewhere. We're not looking for somebody else's wide receiver. We're not looking for somebody else's quarterback. Nah, you play for us, we want you here. I think this is the most, as far as Cincinnati sports goes, this Jamar and T signing is probably the biggest since Ken Griffey Jr. came here from Seattle. I just remember how I felt. It just came out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, Ken Griffey's on the team, and I was like, oh my God, the excitement. It feels similar to that. Like, nobody thought T. Higgins was coming back. And what we found out later was T. Higgins fired his old agent, hired Jamar Chase's agent, and then Jamar and T's agent, Rocky Arsenault, he said, things changed after Burrow went to the Super Bowl, after the Combine. I think a lot of people thought T's going to sign the one-year deal, and then they were going to trade him. And then something happened, and it changed. And then Rocky, and I'm sure at Jamar's nudging, was like, look, we're not signing Jamar. We're signing Jamar and T. It's a package deal. You want to make it happen, let's work Jamar's deal out at the same time we're working T's it out. But we're not doing one without the other. So whatever Jamar makes, we got to see how much is left for T to make, and vice versa. And I'm just going, man, that doesn't happen a lot in sports, that you got a quarterback looking out for his wide receivers, and then one wide receiver looking out for the other wide receiver. And T probably could have made more money outside of Cincinnati. And what nobody's saying is, I'm sure, and I got no basis for this, but remember this, I am sure at some point Tyler Boyd told T, yo, be careful. Because Tyler went from getting the ball from Joe Burrow, and before that, Andy Dalton. You say what you want about Andy. Andy was a decent quarterback. And he's like, then he went to Tennessee. And Tyler was getting like 2-3 balls a game. And I'm sure it was open a lot more than that. And he was probably like, bro, I can't imagine. I've talked to numerous NFL wide receivers, and they all said nothing saps them more than running their routes the whole game and the quarterback either not making the right reads or tucking the ball and running. That's the biggest issue I've heard with running quarterbacks is if you're the second or third option, a lot of times these running quarterbacks, they fall in love with the run and they take off and you're like, dude, I was open. You just didn't see me. And I'm sure Tyler went through that this year with Tennessee. And I'm sure there was times he was open. And for whatever reason, the quarterback didn't make the right read, got the ball there late. So I'm sure Tyler was like, yo, because T could have made more money. He could have been on a team, but does he really want to be on a team with a shitty quarterback that's not going to get him the ball? So now he's a wide receiver, and then people are looking at him different. And T's young. 4 years, he can sign another 4-year deal. At that point, go to a shitty team because hopefully the Bengals got 4 Super Bowl rings. Yeah, I'm thinking like as positive as I can. So it's just, look, it's a good day to be a Bengals fan. It's a good day, baby. It's a good day. The old school met the new school. Jamar and T, they deserve every penny they get. Burrow deserves all the money. Come on now. Let me ask you this. You rather have a great defense and a terrible offense or a great offense and a terrible defense? I'll take the great offense because, like I said, you never feel like you're out of the game with a great offense. So, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm just excited, man. I'm so excited about it. I can't wait till the schedule comes out. Baby, it's a good day, Bengals fans. It's a good day. Ooh. Get out my face. So I was thinking about my favorite Bengals moments. Like when things like this happen, you start thinking. I think the best game I ever went to live was a Monday night game against Denver. And Peyton Manning was coming in town. And the Bengals were not solidified a playoff spot at that point. They were fighting for a wild card. And I just went in there like, I don't know, Peyton Manning, Denver. And the Bengals freaking beat them in the rain. I remember Peyton came down and they scored right away. And then Jeremy Hill ran like an 80-yard touchdown run. And it just changed the whole vibe of the stadium. Because we thought Denver came down and scored. And we thought, this is over. And then Jeremy Hill ran the 80-yard run. And we're like, we're in this. And then Drake Kirkpatrick ran an interception back. And it was just the elements, the rain. Let me see if I can find it on here real quick. It was the 2014 Bengals Chargers. Bengals 2014 Bengal record. I'm pretty good at this. I'm pretty sure I'm correct in the year and everything else. So the Bengals were 9-. No, this is last year. Hold on. What? Why you do that? You know that's not what I want. Google. Bengals. Yeah, 2014 record. Stop playing with me, boy. So the Bengals were 10-5. How they 10-5? They must have been 10-5-1. Yeah, 10-5-1. They lost. I remember they lost to the Colts. Everybody was hurt. Schedule. Okay. December 22nd, Denver Broncos. Bengals win 37-28. And that put them to 10-4-1. And then they got the recap. Hopefully they'll throw the stats up there because I'll never forget that. That was the most jumping I've ever heard the stadium. Touchdown Broncos. Oh, snap. So it started with an interception. Yeah, Dalton threw it. It got intercepted by Talib. And there was 7-0 Broncos. And we're like, And I'm talking 2 plays later, Jeremy Hill, 85 yards, touchdown. And then, I don't know. Then we just balled. We just balled that game. Where's that other touchdown? It was back and forth. God, there was a lot of turnovers. It was raining a lot, though, too. Peyton Manning showed attendance for Demaryius Thomas. Intercepted by Dre Kirkpatrick at the Denver 30. Scores a 30-yard touchdown. Then they intercepted him again. We won the game. It was live. It was live. But then everybody got hurt. And we ended up losing the Colts in the playoffs that year. Hold on, is that the year Denver won the Super Bowl? That could have been the year Denver won the Super Bowl. Hold on. Watch this. Who won the 2014 Super Bowl? Oh, No. The Seahawks won? Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys. I should have had this all queued up. 14 Super Bowl winners. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Denver. Yeah. Yep. That was the 2014-15 season. So Denver beat Carolina. Yep. I think. Hold on. No. That was the Patriots Super Bowl. I'm sorry. 2015 Super Bowl. I'm sorry. I'm going to mess that up. Yeah, that was the Patriots beat the Seahawks. Yeah. That's what that was. Yep. So, sorry, Denver won the year after that. But that was the livest I've ever seen the stadium. Because I've been to playoff games like I went to Buffalo when the Bengals beat Buffalo. I went to Kansas City when the Bengals lost to Kansas City. But road game, I'm talking about in Cincinnati, hyped up stadium. There was nothing like that day. That was different. That was my favorite game I ever went to live. It was just rocking. I remember I went to the friends and family section afterwards. I hugged everybody after that game. Straight up. I hugged AJ Green, Carlos Dunlop, Andy Dalton. I was just hugging everybody when they came out. Oh my God, I was hyped. I was so hyped. So, yeah, just a great day. Just a freaking great day. So the Breakfast Club has been all over the news this week. It's my favorite talk show. It's my favorite morning radio show. They're just a part of the culture. And obviously I'm going to get into the Jess hilarious Lauren LaRosa thing. But before that, Bill Burr had come on the week before. And Bill Burr is one of them guys on the interview, you just want to hear him talk. And he was talking. And remember he said, I pay my people well because I make sure that if you're on the road with me, you're taken care of. And sometimes you got to hear that because sometimes we're all looking for cheap labor, and me included, and you just got to pay your people. And here's what I've noticed. I've noticed a lot of older comics that I think have, as much as some OGs have complained about the new generation, let's say the Desi Banks, the Ralph Barbosas, and things like that. I think a lot of OGs, and me included, have seen how Matt Rife took off, have seen how Nate Jackson took off. And it's been filming their sets, posting the crowd work, and posting some other bits too. But it goes back to what Bill said. You got to pay your people, and you got to spend money to make money. You got to invest in yourself. And I've seen Ari Spears lately been getting into algorithms as far as like doing crowd work, doing just you can tell you can tell he's hired some good cameramen that knew what they was doing. And I think Ari's more than anybody. He's been on my algorithms on Facebook. And people, let me tell you something. People sleep on Facebook, bro. There's more money in Facebook. If you're monetized, I'm talking about for comedian. I can't speak on musicians and content creators and things like that. But I know as a comedian, it's a lot of money on Facebook. Start putting your bits out there. And I've noticed that all of a sudden Ari's been popping up a lot. And there's there's other comics that I've seen like, okay, they're starting to really, is this what we're doing? Because if Netflix is saying no, Hulu's saying no, now you could say kind of screw them. I can do it myself. I saw Ryan Davis. He let off a disclaimer how everybody passed on his special that he spent all this money on, so he's just kind of releasing it himself. He's posting clips. He's got his Patreon, and, but he spent the money and invested himself, and it'll eventually come back tenfold. I promise you that. I'm a perfect example of that. So now I've amped up my game. I started with a camera guy. And then I had a camera guy that wasn't a comedian, and I found a comedian that does all his own bits, Adam. And then Adam was like, yo, I can edit your stuff, and Adam knows how to cut it like a comedian. And now I brought on another camera guy to help Adam out to really get the audience and the crowd and the interactions and the energy when you're in the room. And I think that's the way we're going with this. It's no longer like, yeah, Hulu, I'll go to you. Yeah, Netflix, I'll go to you. I'd love to go there, but you're not the end all. You don't have to be like hitting your head like, why? Hey, this podcast is brought to you by DraftKings. Now listen, it's March Madness, March Mania, March Nuttiness. This is what we know about March. You think you know what's going to happen, but you never know, especially when it comes to college basketball and the college basketball tournament. There's nothing that's a sure thing. We've seen one beat the low seed, beat the top seed beat the low seed, the middle seed beat the somewhat middle seed. So anyways, if you want to get on the action this year, you really want to get in and bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GISSOM. That's code GISSOM for new customers, and get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-797-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. It was funny when I saw Ryan Davis complain. It's pretty much what you're doing. You're complaining about Netflix passed, Hulu passed, they all passed. In the past, it would just suck because you really don't have a way to get it out. And now you do. So I was glad I saw the interview with Bill Burr. Basically, I pay my people well. You got to take care of your people. And I also noticed how some of these OGs, me included, have saw what other people are doing. We've seen what Desi Banks has done. We see what Matt Rife done. We see what Nate Jackson's done. And we're like, okay, this is what we got to do to get our stuff out there. And you're making a little money or a lot of money on social media, but it ends up ticket sales. They pick up. So, all right. Then after that, went aside. Let me just address my issue with Lauren LaRosa. Then we'll keep it moving. So last week, I had said Lauren LaRosa. I said, I'll never forget her name. I talked about how she talked about me on The Breakfast Club when Andrew Schultz was on. She was like, ain't nobody checking for Gary Owen. And she responded in a respectful manner. Still didn't admit she did anything wrong, and not necessarily did anything wrong, but still didn't see like, oh, I can see how he could have taken it like that. I'm not sure how she thought I was supposed to take it. If literally your name comes up and people are like kidding around like, oh, you could have been talking about Gary Owen. She goes, ain't nobody looking for Gary Owen or like that. I don't know how else I could have taken it, but I did listen to her, and I said I can't wait to go back on The Breakfast Club because she's not a. What I've realized is she's not a vindictive, she's not a mean person. And we'll see whenever I go on there and we have our discussion about it. We'll see where it leads. But I'm looking forward to it. And I still stick by my guns. I still think what she meant was, ain't nobody checking for Gary Owen. Whatever the checking for me is, I just think that's what she meant. And she's probably going to say, no, I didn't mean it like that. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I think that's what she meant. So I feel like I am beating a dead horse. But it's funny how, and we're going to get into Jess and her in a minute, talking about comments, internet comments. Internet comments. We do all read the comments. We do. It's just you don't take them serious. And you don't take them to heart. And I think anytime you're on the internet and you're reading like 10, 15, 20 bad comments about you, you start to be like, argh, and you respond sometimes. I look at all the internet comments and I just be like, it's funny to me because the ones I definitely don't take serious is when they'll be like this. This is how a white man does it. Here he goes attacking another black woman. I go, when did race come into this? I just said, LaRosa, a girl, says something. So it's funny to me how you got some people to be like, Garen's whole shtick is black women. But then when I just say a woman, a girl, and I don't bring up race, these people do. And when people say, I go, oh, you just lost all credibility with me. I can't listen to you. Because there are some comments that do like, you appreciate them. And they're not all bad. We act like, don't read the comments. I go, well, the comments are entertaining. And some of them actually make sense. Some of them actually, you take something away from them. Like, oh, that's a side of this story I didn't think about. So with that, there was so much going on this week at the Breakfast Club. You had Jess Hilarious against LaRosa. You had Corey Holcomb against Jess Hilarious. Then Jess got on her IG Live and she was going in on how the Breakfast Club doesn't have her back. And I sit back and I go, oh, this is interesting to talk about on a podcast. And I just think, I see it from every side. I'm not one to be like, oh, Jess is just wrong. She's crashing out. I don't think so. I think Jess was frustrated. I think she got hired thinking it was a 3-man show, which it was before she got there, Angela Yee. She went on maternity leave. And she comes back, and she thought it was just back to the 3 of them. But Lauren never left. And there was lack of communication with the front office or the producers of the show. And she was just like, I thought when I got hired, it was the Breakfast Club, Envy, Charlemagne, and Jess. I did not know Lauren was going to be the 4th seat. And so I think she's just a little taken back that her segments are being cut. Lauren's cutting into her. And it was showing. Even before Jess crashed out, I heard her say, be quiet. I heard her say, shut up. And I was like, ooh. Because I might not watch The Breakfast Club every day as far as like the whole show. But I follow them on all social media platforms, so I'm getting all the clips. But I think it was cool, and I think it was productive that they had Jess say her piece. Then they had Lauren come on and say her piece, and they talked about it. And there's some tension there. You could definitely feel it. But I think when Jess says things like, they never have my back, I'm like, they do. They got your back. They just don't pay attention to the internet like that. They're not letting the comments dictate how they feel or how they should move. And Charlamagne Envy's done a real good job their whole career doing that on the Breakfast Club. That's why they're still there. That's why they're number one. That's why everybody watches them. Now, what I will say, and I learned this when I had my reality show, Jess had said, yeah, what the fuck is you talking about? Baltimore comes out. It's rough. What the fuck is you talking about? So when Jess says like, yeah, I'm out there all the time because I'm getting booked. I'm on the road. I've got more shows. Why is that? That's where I would ask Jess to take a step back. And I know you're in your feelings, and I know everything feels like the whole world's against you because you're reading the comments. And I can't tell somebody how they feel. When you feel like nobody has your back, that shit sucks, especially in the workplace. and you feel like you're not being heard, or you feel like this was not the job I took when you hired me. But I will say, when Jess is saying things like, I'm booked, what did you talk about? Well, a lot of times the reason you're booked so much, there is a part of that has to do with the Breakfast Club. And when I had my reality show, the same producers, everybody had come off the Kardashians. And so obviously they would tell me stories about Kim and Kylie and Chris, and I always keep that between me and the producers of the show. But great stories, by the way. There were some good ones that I'll never release. There were some good ones. But they said the one thing you can say about the Kardashians is they always knew, no matter how many cosmetic lines, no matter how many endorsements they got, it all stemmed from keeping up with the Kardashians. That's where that was the center of the universe, and everything else worked around it. So whenever it was time to do keeping up with the Kardashians, they made sure they made that the priority. And Jess can take this how she wants it. I like Jess a lot. I'd always tell her, keep in mind, there's a lot of opportunities are going to come your way, and they have come and they'll keep coming if you keep the Breakfast Club at the center. And then you're going to get more stand-up dates. Then you'll probably get more endorsements, and you'll probably get more TV and film things outside the Breakfast Club, because you're on every day and everyone watches the Breakfast Club. So I think it helps her Jess with the mess when she's not doing it with the Breakfast Club. I think it helps with her podcast. I just think it helps everything. And that's the only thing I would say. If he was going to say, hey, Gary, if Jess would ask me, you got any advice? I would just give her the Kardashian model, I would say. Keep that at the middle, and everything else will just blow up around it. But just keep the Breakfast Club at the center of it. And even though it is a little different, because the Kardashians blew up because of keeping up the Kardashians, Jess already had a fan base and already had a nice social media presence. But I think it's only been enhanced that much. Because look, I'm talking about it on my podcast. So it does mean something. It does resonate with the culture. And to say it doesn't make any sense. Now, I will say, I don't know what the deal with her and Corey Holcomb is. They just, but Corey goes in on everybody. And I don't take anything he says personal. He's gone in on me before. He's said numerous things like, they used to call me white boy, even though he knows my name. They try to, Gary did me wrong at the Palladium in LA. He still brings that up, which is like 10 years ago. He's brought up when we did our comedy specials together for Code Black, how they screwed him. And I never take it serious, because here's the thing. That's how he feels. That's how he feels. I can't tell someone how to feel. If he feels like he got wronged in that situation, okay. I can just say, hey, this is where I was at with it. This is what I was thinking. But I think the older I get, the less I feel the need to be right. I can be like, oh yeah, I can see how you felt that way. I can see. Like the me and Lauren thing, LaRosa, I'm like, yeah, maybe, okay. I see where you're coming from. I still think, I still feel how I feel about that little thing she said, but it doesn't mean I think she's a bad person. It doesn't mean I think she was being vindictive towards me. But if you ask me, even to this day, I really feel like she felt like ain't nobody really checking for Gary Owen. Not as a whole entertainment, but I just think she thought in hip hop, so to speak, nobody's checking for me. It kind of, you know what it kind of reminded me of? I've never shared this before. It kind of reminded me when that movie Top 5 came out. And Chris Rock, I think he directed it. That was his movie. And Gabrielle Union was in it. And the reporter was asking, who's your top 5 comedians? They were asking everybody on the red carpet, who's your top 5 comedians? And everybody was giving the same answers. Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, of course, it's his movie. I think Kev got mentioned a lot. But Gabrielle Union said, She named off 4. And she goes, you know who else is? Gary Owen. And the guy that was interviewed goes, oh, that's a good one. Chris Rock, out of nowhere, comes out and goes, Gary Owen? And he came in and goes, and was shaking his head like, and it was almost like I felt how I felt, and I could be wrong. I felt like he was like, how could you say that? Who in their right mind thinks Gary Owen is one of my top 5 comedians? And you can pull it up on YouTube. Look up Gabrielle Union top 5. In fact, we'll pull it up on the podcast, or at least for the clip. And when the first one I heard, I go, what? Why would he literally left. He was talking to somebody else. Chris Rock left the person he was talking to jump into Gabrielle Union's interview and be like, Gary Owen? Really? And then Gabrielle had to explain to him, like, he came to my wedding, he sat with my family, and anyone that could sit with my family for a couple hours, they're in my top 5. And Chris Rock went, I can see that. Adam Sandler danced with my mother at my wedding, and he'll forever be my dude because of it. But the initial reaction was Gary Owen. And I was like, oh, I picked up on it. So, that's what it kind of reminded me of. So I just hope they all work it out. And, everybody can be on the show. Because I don't want Lauren to be gone because I want to talk to her next time I go in the Breakfast Club. I don't want her to leave. I don't want Jess to leave. Jess has always been cool with me. I remember the first time I met Jess Hilarious was 2017, 17 or 18. I was on the Steve Harvey show, and her manager at the time, which I don't know if it's still her manager, was Tamra. And Tamra FaceTimed me and said, yo, I got somebody who wants to meet you. And it was Jess. And Jess was like, oh my God, Darren. And then I actually went down and saw her perform that night at the Comedy Union in LA. And it was cool. It was a cool time to first meet her. And she was so young, and just, you could tell she was like first time running into celebs in LA, people you've seen on TV. We've all been there. Any comic, we all might react different, but we've all been there when we first got to LA, and you start seeing comedians that you've seen on TV, and you're like, oh, you catch yourself just staring sometimes. But it was such a nice, innocent moment for Jess. She was like, oh my God. And then it was cool. We've been cool ever since. So I want her to stay on the Breakfast Club, and then I hope Lauren's still there when I do it. So, okay, last thing I want to talk about. Do you guys watch the show White Lotus? And I don't know why I'm saying do you guys watch this like you're going to answer me. If you haven't, watch it. There's 3 seasons. First season was in Hawaii. Second season was in Italy. This season's in Thailand. When I tell you, season 3, episode 5, could be one of the greatest monologue scenes in the history of television. I wish I didn't plan this out. I should have gave you the exact minute. Oh, listen, just watch episode 5. You ain't got to watch the show. Even if you've never watched the show, this one scene with Sam Rothwell. Let me make sure I got these names right. Sam Rockwell. Why does it always go to Wikipedia? That's not what I want. Hold on. And I knew I wasn't crazy when I watched it. I knew I wasn't the one that felt that way. Okay. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. This monologue by Sam Rockwell. It's just epic. It's so wild. It's so nuts. So let me just break it down. So Walton. I've been calling this guy Walter. Walton Goggins is in White Lotus. They're at the hotel. He goes to Bangkok to try to find the guy that killed his dad. And he doesn't know what he's going to do. We still don't know what he's going to do. Because Could just want to talk to him. Could just say, hey, I'm still here. You ruined my life, and keep it moving. He might kill him. We don't know with White Lotus. That's why the show's so good. He goes to see his friend Sam Rockwell. And Sam Rockwell's been living in Bangkok for a while. And they're in a bar, and it's how it's all set up. It's just them at a hotel bar. The table's tiny, so they look massive. The lighting, the background music. It's one of my favorite scenes I've ever seen in my life on a TV show. And Sam Rockwell goes into detail. And this is not going to do it justice, but if you don't take nothing else away from this podcast, go watch season 3, episode 5 of White Lotus. You ain't got to watch the show to fully enjoy this scene. Sam Rockwell goes in the depth of how he came to Bangkok, was trying to find himself. Now he's not drinking. He's not having sex. It's like a Buddhist, or he's trying to practice Buddhism or something. And he said, when I first got here, I was just sleeping. I like Asian girls, man. That's why I came here. So I started sleeping with Asian girls. Then I started sleeping with multiple Asian girls. Then I was sleeping with like 3 girls a day. He goes, then I started messing with the lady boys, which are guys that look like girls. He goes, then he said then he started letting the lady boys fuck him. He said, now they're screwing me. And I let a couple of them just run a train on him, basically, from both sides. He goes, then I'd hire lady boys and I'd hire a girl to watch. And he goes, as the lady boy was having their way with me, which means a lady boy is like a transgender, basically. And they're just screwing him in the ass. He said, I'd look at the girl and I'd become her. I was her at that moment. I was her watching me, and I was one. He goes, and then I tried to realize, what is the meaning of this? Do I want to, I can't fulfill my life. Do I want to be a guy that just sleeps with a lot of women? But do I want to be a lady boy? And I'm not doing this justice. And Walton Goggins is just like, the editors, the monologue, I don't know if it was ad-libbed or not. It's so good. It's so good. Watch it. Season 3, episode 5. When I'm watching, I'm cracking up because he's so passionate about it, Sam Rockwell, and just the way he delivers it. If you don't know who Sam Rockwell is, Green Mile, the guy that was the crazy man that actually did kill the people in Green Mile, that's Sam Rockwell. He's good in everything. And so is Walton Goggins. You got these 2 guys that are just amazing actors. If that scene don't win an Emmy, it's all bullshit. All these award shows are bullshit. That scene should win both those guys Emmys, at least one of them. Or White Lotus an Emmy or something. It's just so good. And I'm not doing it justice. And it just keeps going. It keeps getting darker and more uncomfortable. And you can't turn off. I was laughing. I was like, ugh. It was disgusting. I was laughing. It was every emotion in one. And they never broke character. It was like dead serious. Like, yeah, I wanted to be a lady boy, I guess. And then I became her. I was her watching me. I was like, this is so dark. I couldn't get enough of it. So, again, if you take nothing else away from this podcast, Season 3, Episode 5, White Lotus, watch it. I ain't gonna be that dude, thank me later. No, thank yourself for watching it. Thank yourself, don't thank me. All right, well, I wanna end on that. So this weekend, I'm in the Virgin Islands. Friday, I'm in St. Thomas. Saturday, I'm in St. Croix. This is Gary Owen with the Get Some Podcast. Watch White Lotus.
This motherfucker Gary.